What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So today I have an incredibly helpful video for you. And not just if you're over 40 years old, like yours truly. Matter of fact, I think those that are over 40 are probably finding this video out of necessity, right? As an SOS, needing some help. If though you're under 40, if you're following the advice that I'm giving you in this video, you probably wouldn't need this in such urgency when you got over 40. And I'm gonna address what I feel like the 8 big mistakes that we make as people that lift over 40 years old, covering all ranges of topics from our training down all the way to our nutrition. But the best way to do this, guys, is to get started and get right into them. And the first thing I want to cover is the warm-up. All right, so we start here with the warm-up because we always start with the warm-up, right, guys? Right? You see, I will tell you right now, I'm very guilty of not warming up, at least for a long time in my life. Because let's face it, back when you're in your 20s, the Jessies of the world, they just walk into the gym and they throw the weight on the bar and then they just go. Maybe 1 or 2 warm-up sets if lucky. You're not going to get away with that when you start to train over 40. You definitely need to pay more attention to getting your body ready to train. But I will caution you here. I have a big problem with turning warm-ups into workouts. When you have to foam roll every square inch of your body just to be able to do a single joint movement, you're doing too much. When you have to spend more time warming up than working out, you're doing too much. There is a line that you need to make sure that you walk on the right side of because you don't want to turn your warm-up into something that it doesn't need to be. If you're doing a compound movement, guys, choose 4 warm-up sets to get yourself up ready to perform that exercise. Don't, though, perform all too many repetitions. You don't need to wear yourself out in the process of getting up to your work sets. If you're working a more single joint exercise, again, a couple sets there. 2 should be fine to get yourself warmed up there. Overall, you're going to want to make sure that you do some general body prep. Break a sweat. Do something you enjoy doing. Do some jumping jacks if you don't enjoy anything else. A little bit of light jogging, anything to elevate your core temperature to get you ready. But the fact is, guys, warm-ups become more crucial the older you get, but you still don't want to turn them into marathons. All right, so now you're warmed up and ready to train. What do you focus on? Well, you should be focusing on what you focused on the whole rest of your life, and that is building strength. Guys, it becomes imperative that especially as you get older, you need to be building your strength. You need to be getting as much strength as you possibly can, but you need to do so responsibly. You see, I talked about this many times before. It's not just strength. It's not just the number of plates that you put on the sides of the bar that matters. It's the number of plates that you can control. Controlled strength should be your focus here. Now, what does that mean? Guys, it means actually commanding the weight that you use. And this might mean you need to sort of check your ego at the door and cut those weights down a bit to establish what those real strength levels are. I want you to start doing things like this, pausing at the bottom of every repetition of a bench press, pausing at the bottom of every repetition of a squat, realizing that, yes, again, maybe you got to stop worrying about the numbers and just focus on the quality. But that quality will serve you incredibly well as you work and continue to train, if you do this right, into your 50s and 60s and 70s. There should be no end to strength training. Progressively overloading and trying to get stronger at every opportunity is key, but making sure that controlled strength is your focus will serve you so well, not just now, but for a long time coming. So with the element of control in place now, you now have to move to this next step, and that is making sure that you're not forgetting to train the mind-muscle connection. Now, I hate the overuse of that term, guys, but there's a lot of validity to it. It's not just the exercise and how it looks that you're doing, but it's actually how it feels to you. Because oftentimes we can look at different people doing the same exercise and one is getting far more out of it than somebody else. And the difference there lies completely in their pursuit of a mind-muscle connection, meaning their pursuit of the quality of each repetition. So it's not just about moving. As you see here, I use this example all the time, a side lateral raise, the dumbbell from point A to point Z. Instead, the person that's focused on developing mind-muscle connection here is going to focus mostly on the quality of every point in between A and Z, the journey from B to Y. And when you do that, that is when things start happening. As a matter of fact, the most critical thing that happens here is the introduction of stability. When you can create joint stability and muscular control that comes from this, now you can actually feed more into what we just talked about, which was controlled strength. Stability is always going to form the foundation, sort of the base underneath your large aspect and your big focus on strength training. The more stable you are, the more successful you will be there. So really focusing on developing a mind-muscle connection, not forgetting to do this, even if it means lightening the weights, is going to be key to your training for now and forever. So with the value of quality repetitions here firmly in place, how do we take that to the next level? How do we string quality reps into quality sets and a quality workout? Well, we do it with the introduction of metabolic training. And this is something that you should have introduced even at an early age in your 20s, but it becomes increasingly imperative as you get older because of the unique benefits it provides versus your other two main drivers of growth, which is progressive overload and strength training and the eccentric muscle damage approach. So what are we looking at here, guys? We're talking about introducing lighter weights on exercises that you're typically just trying to train for strength on or trying to lift as heavy a weight as you possibly can. There are benefits to trading in that weight. The benefit comes in the form of the accumulation of metabolic stress, which in and of itself is a driver of hypertrophy and gains. If you take a set of curls here that you're normally struggling through to get 7 or 8 repetitions and instead lighten that weight significantly and now focus on getting not just to the burn but through the burn, you're going to introduce a stress to that muscle that is unique and capable of driving gains that aren't capable through those other two methods. And most importantly, as I mentioned, this is tailor-made for guys that are training in their 40s and beyond because there's far less stress to the tendons, joints, and ligaments that support the muscles that you're training. This is the type of training, guys, that will leave you feeling refreshed even after it knocks the hell out of you in that particular workout. It will allow you to recover faster between sessions. It's not going to impact your ability to accumulate your weekly volume because it's not going to leave you dead on the floor the way an eccentric training overload could, or the frustration that comes from maybe not being able to constantly add weight to the bar. Explore this, guys. Make sure it becomes part of your routine. Again, I don't care what age you're training, metabolic training is a prerequisite of success, but when you become over the age of 40, it becomes mandatory. So if you want to continue to train well into your 40s and beyond, then you're going to have to do what I've been saying here forever on this channel, and that is you need to start training like an athlete. But what does that really mean? Well, it doesn't just mean taking a scientific approach and a purposeful approach to your training, right? Not just exercising casually, but actually having a training and a plan behind what you do, but it also actually means training like an athlete, doing athletic things, doing things like this, jumping, right? Because if you don't use it, guys, the old adage again rears its ugly head and you're going to lose it. I related an old story that I told a few years ago, and that is I had an office building that had a parking lot attached that was under construction. And my only two ways for getting to my office front door were A, to jump a 6-foot fence, or B, to walk around about 8 blocks of detour to go all the way back and around to get to the front of the building. As the somewhat lazy guy that I am, you could probably guess I decided to jump the fence. And it wasn't just once a day, because halfway through the day I actually had to go and feed the meter that expired after 4 hours. So it was another fence jump, and a fence jump back to the office again, and then a fence jump to leave at the end of the day. That was a lot of fence jumping, but guess what? I was actually good at jumping. I could do a lot of jumping in my training without any repercussions at all because the old adage states, you use it or you lose it. I was certainly using it until I didn't. And when I didn't jump that fence, I was away from that office for about 6 months. I came back, and the very first day, I jumped right over that fence, hit the ground, and felt like my knees were going to explode. Now, I have been doing jumping in my training, of course, but I hadn't been doing as much as I was doing then. And that is the sad fact when we get older, and that is you need to continue to do the things you were doing if you want to continue to get the things you were getting. And if you take the athletic elements out of your training, you're going to lose them. So find some way that you're not just a one-dimensional trainer. You're not just training for strength. You're not just picking weights up and putting them down. You're incorporating athletic movement into what you do as well. And I promise you, the longevity you'll get from doing it will be immeasurable. All right, so back when I was in my 20s, basically any exercise that didn't put more muscle on either my biceps or my chest pretty much bored the shit out of me. It wasn't until I got older that I started to value the other exercises, the ones that no one wants to do. Matter of fact, having a love affair now with the face pull. But it's because of the benefits that I see from doing these exercises that I preach them so heavily today. And it's actually why I would recommend them to everybody, even back in their teens, so that you fortify your body now and you don't need to rely on them as much as you need to in your 40s if you forgot to do them up until now. Start prioritizing the inclusion, guys, of these corrective exercises. Yes, they look boring. Yes, they look to be minuscule. Yes, they look to be so focused on such small muscles. But all muscles matter, guys, and doing these exercises is going to help you to, once again, create that longevity that we're all looking for from our training. Next up, and already here at number 7, guys, what type of cardio are you doing? As you get older, you've probably been told, hey, you got to keep your heart healthy. You got to do something to elevate your heart rate. And everybody who's telling you that is right. But if you spend your time doing lots and lots of long-distance cardio, you're also introducing the element of lots of impact on your joints. That doesn't necessarily have to be there. And as a matter of fact, if you do too much of that, you start to walk into some dangerous territory in terms of your overall recovery. What I want to introduce and what I want you to make sure that you're including is what I call sparing cardio. Sparing for your muscles, sparing on your joints, sparing on your tendons and ligaments. Actually, maybe even sparing your pride, because if I have to see another person run like this, and we see it all the time on the street, run like it hurts, guys, you don't need to do that. As a matter of fact, you can get more from it if you start to do things that are a little bit more creative, like this. Battle ropes. Battle ropes are an incredible way to increase your heart rate without necessarily sacrificing your overall intensity of your training, not having to just do slow, boring cardio. You can do something like this, a carry. We've talked about the benefits of the carry many times on this channel, actually showcasing how important it is with Jesse just a few videos back. And even something like this, a sled push. There is no eccentric component here. This is not going to lead to excessive muscle soreness. This is very kind to the joints. You may not have access to any of these pieces of equipment, but there are other things we can do as well. The fact is, you need to expand your horizons when it comes to your cardio and look for places to limit here. Maximize the benefits you're getting, but limit the amount of time and the repetitions, because we don't want to continue to overload these same structures that are going to provide us with the very opportunity to continue to do this type of training for a long time to come. And last but not least, guys, we have to talk about the role of nutrition and supplementation as it relates to you reaching your goals the older you get. I will tell you right now, as we've all probably experienced firsthand, shit's not as easy as it used to be when we were in our 20s. Just ask Jesse. He gets away with an 8-pack eating gummy bears all day long, or at least he used to. The fact is, guys, things change. Your metabolism changes. Things slow down. Your reliance on good, high-quality nutrition and consistent high-quality nutrition becomes a major focus of what you need to do. As a matter of fact, I put up videos here showcasing exactly what I eat in a given day, just to give you guys an idea, not to say eat exactly what I eat, but to give you an idea of my focus on the consistency and the high quality of the nutrition that I put in my body. People struggle with how their body changes when they get older. Mostly, they will accumulate more body fat. The reason why I've been able to stay as lean as I have, despite the fact that I'm 44 years of age, is because I never vary from my nutrition. I am always on point with my nutrition. I see the value and I realize the value that having high quality, consistent nutrition provides me. It's the same thing for you. You need to be able to focus on increasing your consistency with high quality nutrition to keep your body fat levels down, and it's going to support your efforts in the gym. The less excess body fat you're carrying, the more productive you're going to be in your workouts and everything else we've covered already in this video. So as you can see, guys, there are some things here that as we get older, we need to really focus in and dial in on if we want to see gains, not just for the next 5 or 10 years, but for the next 20 or 30 years, and I'm talking, yes, even at the age of 40. There's no limit on the amount of results and gains you can see from your training if you train smart. And I don't care if you start training here at the age of 15 or 20, everything that was covered in this video is something you should aspire to and start introducing into your training now, because it's going to make it less of an emergency when you get to your 40s if you start doing that now. If you're looking for plans, guys, that build this in, all this entire approach is built around the foundation of what we preach here at ATHLEAN-X. They're built into all of our programs over at ATHLEAN-X.com. In the meantime, if you found the video helpful, make sure you leave your comments and thumbs up below. Let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that for you in the days and weeks ahead. And if you haven't already done so, guys, please click subscribe and turn your notifications so you never miss a video when we put one out. All right, guys, see you soon.